All right, Omar, what's up? Usually when I get started, I like everybody that's new, or even people that ain't new, if you'd like to. Introduce yourself. Tell us about how you found the event, why you're coming to the event, and like what your current level of experience is with coding, or just whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter, but if it's coding related, yeah, definitely your current level of experience. This would be great. And then Omar, if you'd like to speak on stage, you're muted. So it's up to you. You can share either through the chat or you can speak on stage. For anybody that's not familiar with Discord, you got to use the upper right corner. There's going to be a chat bubble or a hand symbol. You click on the hand to speak on stage, or you can click on the chat bubble to chat. If you don't want to share, that's fine. It's just it'd be great if you did,
No,
so we can know more about you.
how are you, Omar? Nice to meet you, everyone here. I'm from Colombia. I'm here in Toronto, Canada to study a 3D modeling and VFX program at Humber College North. I have been working with virtual reality headsets back in Colombia, and I want to continue making interactive applications and immersive applications. I want to improve my abilities in coding. I have been working with C Sharp, but I want to learn more. Mm, I found this space through Eventbrite, so I'm glad to be here and continue joining this space.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're happy to have you. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you for being part of the community. All right. We got Katie. All right, Katie. Um, oh yeah, that's right, Katie. Yeah, Katie's being shy. All right, so we got anybody else want to speak on stage or wants to write in the chat? Those free Harvard courses are pretty good, by the way, too, that Katie's talking about. If anybody's interested in those, if you're interested in computer science, Harvard has some free computer science courses you could take. And from what I've heard, I haven't taken them myself, but from what I've heard, they're pretty good. Like they're pretty good. I've gotten feedback from people in my network, especially people that are aspiring devs that are learning still, and they said those courses were pretty good. I can't. I'm not going to like speak on whether they could replace university or not, but because I haven't reviewed the curriculum myself, but it looks good. It looks like it looked good at the time I did check it out, but I haven't actually taken it. So like for me to actually give that type of opinion, I would feel more comfortable with that type of opinion if I actually at least stepped through that curriculum myself.
I feel like it's and I wasn't speaking earlier because my kids are running around yelling.
Oh, okay. All
um,
right.
yeah, I feel like a little more confident going into the first comp sci course because like looking over what's on the syllabus already, it's like pretty much aligns exactly with like the CS50 that Harvard is doing. So it's almost like I'll be more prepared for starting the course.
All right. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Because I've got the feedback I've gotten was it's pretty brief, and then you don't have access to a professor. So like at the university, it's going to be very in depth, and they're going to drag it out through multiple classes, of course, because it's 4 years long, or at least 4 years long if it's a bachelor. And then you're going to have multiple professors teaching you through every single computer science class you have. So that's the only reason I can't say because I've had somebody. The reason why I just threw it out there is because I've had somebody before ask me, "Hey, do you think I can take that course instead of going to college?" And I'm definitely not going to say that because I haven't walked through that course myself, but I heard it's good. It's good learning anyway. Uh, all right, Charles with Python for media research. Oh yeah, I remember you posted something about this, Charles, about misinformation and fact checking. That'd be a pretty interesting way to use Python. Uh, but are you trying to use it with yeah, let me give you permission to speak because I'm curious if you're going to be using that with AI or not. If you're trying to use AI, like build some type of AI software that will help with that, or if you're trying to do it like build some type of software that where a human being behind that software can actually do the fact checking. Like, what are you actually trying to do? What's the what's the goal there? So that was Charles. But if you want to speak whenever you want, you're on stage now. So if you are speaking, we can't hear you. Yeah, right now AI is creating a lot of misinformation.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead, go for it, Charles.
Yeah. So I'm just a complete beginner to coding. So I'm still finding are there any possible Python script that might help track the spread of like virtual news story across different social media platforms. So I'm also trying to learn in these events. So I'm trying to find a way to actually do it.
Oh yeah, you're trying to find a solution to do it. All right. So yeah, I was curious whether you're trying to like build software and automate some of that process with AI. I was gonna say like that's a pretty big project because then you're gonna have to train that AI on a lot of data that it's gonna be looking for, and then it's got to be able to identify the correct information from the fake information. The other way to do it is to create some kind of software that automates some of those processes somewhat, but you have human beings that are working with that software and they're able to like maybe the software has is able to identify places where people are posting information that maybe the public relies on, like maybe people want to know if it's fact or not, and then at some point maybe real human beings do the fact checking, but that's kind of like uh, you would really want to use the software to speed it up because humans can already do it, but it's a long drawn out process. But if the AI can, or I mean, or if you can build software that can look at these major platforms and maybe give it keywords, for example, like um, depending on on what people are trying to fact check, you can give it keywords, and then it looks for these posts from these people or these organizations, and then um, and pulls this information like a scraper somewhat. You know what I mean? It's going to pull that information and then they can see it within their software and then go from there. Like there's so many solutions you could think of, but like I would like to but me, I'm the type to try to help to see if I can get AI or AI agents to try to do it. But AI is not 100% accurate. So like they're not as accurate as a human that has an interest in it. Like a human that has an interest in it is going to be a lot more accurate than just sending AI out there to go find this information for you.
Yes, that must be something really helpful. And I found some APIs from Brandwatch and Twitter API. I'm trying to create some codebook for content analysis. However, when doing it, I have some concern about ethical data handling. So recently, I have read about 700 million settlements Facebook reached in the Cambridge Analytica scandal and the $5 billion FTC fine against Facebook for privacy violations. So those cases really is a reminder for me for some ethical data practices. So with this in mind, I'm wondering how would you address those considerations in data science, especially when dealing with potentially sensitive media data.
Right.
So, or could you provide some practical examples of how, like, I can ensure I'm respecting user privacy and avoiding bias when using Python and the APIs to analysis social media contents?
Yeah. So like that all depends on how you're gonna create that process because all humans have bias. You just gotta know if they're biased enough to really, as far as fact checking goes. But even the AI, like the AI, you can make it more neutral depending on the source, but you want to make sure that the source isn't biased because you don't know if the source is going to taint the AI. So like if the source is biased one way and they provide an AI. That's why it's better, like for a big company like that, not to get involved in politics or religion or things where that have um that have high conflict, I guess you could say, because instead of people using those things to unite, they use them for to create conflict. So, um, like and like for example, with all the politics going on, if a big organization were to support one side or one person or one side, you can imagine what that like the message that sends. Like if you're on the other side, you might not want to not just be like I don't want to use their products, I don't want to support that company, but you might not want to trust their AI because how do you know connecting to the AI's API to use it for this fact checking that it's actually um, unbiased? Because you can actually program AI to be biased, just like a human. So like you got to remember that too. But yeah, humans are biased. So like that's another one. That's another
Maybe
filter.
trying to be more neutral, as you mentioned, and that's great. I got you. Suggest me some beginner-friendly Python libraries that I could start with learning to work on this.
Oh yeah. Like there's a lot of stuff for Python. Me myself, I specialize in JavaScript, but I could like if you wanted to DM me like with some information, I could see what I can gather up either from like my network or doing some research for you. If you'd like, if it would help you, but that would be because I don't specialize in Python, but I know there's a lot of resources out there for Python that you can find. But there could be just like quality. Like for me, like when I search for because I specialize in JavaScript, and when I'm considering whether I should use like a third party library or SDK or whatnot or API, whatever it is that I'm using, that might be third party source that I'm not going to build myself. I always look at quality first, and because there's a lot of tools out there that you can use, but not all of them offer high quality. Sometimes the data you get in from them is junk. Um, and then usually the high quality ones are premium for the most part. You'll find some open source ones that are high quality, but a lot of the really high quality ones always have a premium plan. They're always premium. Either that or they're not premium,
Mhm.
like but they have a really severely limited free plan. But yeah, you see, because I've used a lot of I've messed around with APIs a lot, and just like I made this fake, it's just so I can pull data from any API I wanted on the on my console, developer console, and I would look at some of the data from some of these sources from the API, and a lot of places have junk data or like old data or just or they're not maintaining their APIs anymore. So like you don't want to mess with that. Um, just a bunch of different things, and then within the AI like sector, we got all kinds of competition now. You have a lot of companies that are pretty big. OpenAI is the biggest one, of course, but you have a lot of companies that are pretty big that are creating their own AI that we can use in applications or however we want to use them. Even if we don't want to build application, like you don't have to be a software developer to use AI. Even if you want to prompt it as a user from the front end and and have it do something for you. Um, I mean, some people use it as a search engine. Like I had a friend trying to see how it performs against search engines. Like he was a developer and he's like, I just wanted to see how like it was when Chat GPT 4 before the 4.0 when it was just Chat GPT 4 when they added browsing to it. I think it was 3.5 turbo they first added browsing or ability to browse to it. But whenever they did, he got the beta access as a developer, and he was just trying to see if it performs searches better than Google or better than Edge or better than all these other um, browsing, all these other tools out there, and it didn't. Like it still made errors. It still made errors back then. But I'm curious how it would now because I keep up with AI and OpenAI's API now is they have for developers their new model, but they're only giving access to certain developers. But they're claiming that their new model has a higher accuracy level. But I believe it's Chat GPT o1 or 10, something like that, the new one. Just barely like they just barely announced it maybe a couple days ago, maybe a few days. I'm not sure. Not too long ago, they just barely announced it. But Chat GPT 4.0 and 4.0 Mini is really good. So like I was testing those and 4.0 Mini is the one I demoed in in the group project we're building. But the new one is the new Chat GPT, that new model they just released. The one as soon as it's released to the public, it's supposed to be like really really good, really good. So I'm waiting for that one because I want to test it as far as its coding ability and to see if it can really do what they're saying it can do. Because I always do that when these places release these models and they say it can do, whatever they claim it can do. If it relates to software, I go and test it to see if it really can.
Sure,
Uh,
I have already tried it and I found it very helpful. So when I have some bug, when I need to debug it, when I need to find where the problem is, I can just copy all the code and send it to ChatGPT, and you can just answer the question and find where it goes wrong. And I'm also using Cloud AI. So if you have tried it, I found it is very helpful, even for its free register account. Also, so those suggestions you provided to me were very incredibly helpful. Thanks so much, and I really appreciate it for resource seeking, and I believe those can get me towards some high quality results.
oh yeah, yeah, like whatever I can help with, you could DM me if you want, and then we can go over that a little more detail sometime. Um,
Okay.
all right, so Claude, yeah, Claude is a good one. Claude is so I've used both Claude and OpenAI, and Claude in some instances is more accurate than OpenAI. So it depends on what you're using the AI for. But because they both are pretty competitive when it comes to and accurate when it comes to like text generation when you're asking it about a topic like that just involves just text, like textual information. It's pretty accurate. I think that's where it's most accurate. But when you start asking it about code, it's not very accurate, depending on your level of experience. So like you can perceive it, like your level of experience, you can perceive it as really, really accurate. But depending on your level of experience, then you'll be able to pick holes in it. And then that's what I found with some of this AI is that I mean we did a meeting in the past. I believe it was when ChatGPT 4 first got released. We did an event where we were picking with where we're using multiple sources of AI to solve a problem in JavaScript, and then I was with the guys that we had there. I was proving to one of them why AI can't replace us yet, because that was his question. And I told him, well, let's get it to solve a simple problem on Code Wars, and I'll pick it apart in front of you. And that's what we did. I sat there, being playing devil's advocate, being AI's enemy, when usually I'm more AI's friend. So um, because I'm able to do that because I feel like I'm unbiased in that space. So like because I really want to know when I'm using a tool how accurate it is, if I can rely on the code it's giving me, and then for my experience, from the most part, a lot of the code it gives, I don't feel like I can rely on it. I still have to scrutinize it, like read it, analyze it, and test it and all that stuff. Um, so yeah, I don't believe AI is there. Where it can replace any of us yet. But I know that's OpenAI's goal. So like for some people, they don't want to. Like I have developers too, like developers in my network that they're completely against AI because um, and they're senior developers too, like they're experienced developers because they feel that any because they know someone like OpenAI's goal is to create these bots that can do what humans do and think like humans think, and in essence that's gonna in essence people can interpret that as a replacement, like this thing's gonna replace what I do, and I'm gonna be out of whatever it is I like to do because they built something that can do it, faster and just as good, if not better. And so there are developers in the community that are against it. They're against AI for that reason. Um, Me, I'm not against AI. I feel like AI could be used to our advantage and help us like evolve. And then right now it's really good at speeding things up, especially like simple boilerplate, simple tasks. Because like I found that the simpler the code is, the more accurate it is. When I ask it to do more complex things, it's just buggy and doesn't work, and it's terrible. Um, for example, I've like when building software, if I ask AI sometimes for a solution, I always have to tweak it. Like I always have to look at it, analyze it, tweak it, test it, and then and sometimes it gives me a solution, sometimes it doesn't, and I gotta go old fashioned like Google. I gotta go out on Google and do more research and put something together. All right, so I hope that helps a little bit. As far as AI, how I think you should be using it is different. So like I tell people one, not that I'm like misinforming people, but we go more in depth on how to use it in our mentorship program compared to our meetings that we have here. So, but like in our mentorship program, we try to teach how to pair program with AI and how to use it as a developer, how you should use it versus how most people use it. Most people actually um, depend on it writing the code for them, which I think is the wrong approach. It's backwards. And if you're trying to get a job at a tech company and they know that you're trying to just use the AI to do all the coding for you, you're never going to get hired. They don't want that kind of developer. Um, you know what I mean? Because that's no better than them investing in an AI that can code for them. They don't need you to code. They don't need to hire you to code if all you're going to do is use the AI's code. See what I mean? So like you can't be, that's a backwards way to use it. You don't want to do that. All right, give me 1 second. Uh, I'm looking for, there we go. I found it. All right, so normally when I start these meetings, I like to start with my presentation. We talked a lot about AI, so that's kind of helps. So thank you guys for whoever has already updated or told us about why they're here, things like that. Um, we don't really have much updates for the group project going on right now, but for those of you guys that are new, I can walk through it briefly and see if you're interested in it. So we'll do that after the slides. And then whatever time we have left, we can do whatever you guys want. Like if there's anything, I try to tell people like if there's anything, like if you have questions about um like what you're doing to get into the industry, or if you have questions about, hey, I'm working on this project and I'm trying to maybe get some feedback on something, or maybe if you want to uh, do some do something, with some code or something, they just let me know. Like, but that's when we get to that point. Normally, like sometimes we try to find ways to mess around with AI, or maybe like when people ask about AI, like I think it was Hisser one time asked about image generation with AI, so we kind of went over that a little bit. And of course, there's better ways to do it, but we still went over it nonetheless at at least a basic level. And then like every AI for image generation, for example, it's going to have a unique way in their documentation on how we should be prompting it, what information we should be feeding it to get the best output, the best image that we can get from it. Oh, so what do we got here? Uh, uh, yeah, yeah, for like Charles, how you're saying it can do small tasks or tasks, but not like complete work. So like right now, how you have all that software out there that's claiming that claims uh, that they can build a production level application with one prompt, they're full of it. I have yet to see that because I've tested some of those ones that were out there, and they even admit right now that they're either denying public access because they're still in development because they haven't been able to actually, like, that's their end goal, but they actually haven't been able to actually do it. They're able to only do like beginner level projects, and very minimal, and the UIs always suck. They're very basic. It's nothing like production ready or nothing like that. For the AI that I've seen when you ask it when you're trying to get it to do like big tasks. So that's why I tell people it's not a good idea to try to get AI to build software for you. It's not there. I mean, you can if you want to put your name out there with that software that AI built, and maybe you're at a level where you don't know how garbage it is, but like you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of like we're not like to be honest, we're not devoid of that. If you look on the internet, we got plenty of websites that suck and plenty of apps in the app store that suck. And you know what I mean? So we're not devoid of that, but the problem we want to fix is we want to put quality out there. We want to put quality things out there, quality UIs, quality applications out there for people. We want people to have a good time instead of the same thing everybody else put online that's just straight up boring and looks hideous. All right, so all right, I didn't know what you meant by that, Omar, so I can't answer that one when you said not a treat for seniors and experts. What, were you talking about AI in general? Uh, all right, I got you. Yeah, it is. I think, Katie, when tags are already closed automatically, they have in VS Code, they have uh, I forget what it's called, but I tried it. But they have an extension where the tags where you start the opening tag and it automatically closes it for you, and then it renames it if you rename that same tag, but it causes bugs sometimes. And then, like for example, if you built a component and then you need that component put somewhere else, so you're like, I'm not gonna rebuild the component. It doesn't make no sense, and you're trying to move it somewhere else, depending on if you're using if you're not using a JavaScript framework or you're not using like native JavaScript, like if you're using HTML and CSS still, then you're gonna have bugs copying and pasting that where you need it because that auto close tag extension screws things up sometimes most of the time. It starts getting
Just
weird.
that I've been learning HTML and CSS, and I noticed that the being an issue a couple times.
Yeah. You were talking about the auto close, right?
Yeah,
It's an
yeah, I was
extension.
doing Phoenix code, which is that like only for front end Phoenix code?
I haven't looked at Phoenix Code. I'll have to look at it because I don't use too many of those things. But a lot of those, if they have tags, if they're related to HTML, yeah, it's for the front end for the structure. So,
Okay,
so
yeah.
like,
Um,
yeah, so HTML and CSS is always related to the front end for the most part, but the programming language or any frameworks that are related to the programming language are going to be related more for the functionality and somewhat for the front end because they're using the well actually for the front end because you got something like
mhm.
React that's written in JavaScript that uses components for the UI and everything. But like these extensions, yeah, that target HTML and CSS, they're all front end. You'll be able to distinguish them as you go along. You'll be able to distinguish between front end and back end techniques or
Mhm.
tools or technologies or different things out there because there is a unique difference. And building a front end and then building a back end are two different things. And then how do you link them? And then linking them together. But the first thing you want to know is how to use APIs. So like that's why on this project I
Okay.
wanted to use an API was because that's the one of the most important things you need to be learning if you're beginning learning is not just the front end, but how to connect to APIs and how to use the data that's given to you through the API. How to use that data, manipulate that data, or display that data, whatever it is you got to be doing with that data, because the API is the most important thing. Because it gives you like a an idea of what's going on with the back end, but it's not really if you're just you have a front end that's and you're just using a API, and that API is connected to some database somewhere that's pulling the data for you, that still gives you a good picture because there are applications out there that just use a bunch of APIs. They don't want to build their own database, But building your own database and your own server is completely different. That's going to be a more complex task. But it's good learning because that's like what as a back end developer, you're going to have to know all that stuff.
Do you have like a course or I don't know, like a series of like YouTube videos that cover API to
Not yet.
study like outside of the
Yeah,
mentorship?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, only in the mentorship right now, but like we're going over that because we're planning on either because I was planning on that because I've gotten feedback from some people that want to see some content. So I was thinking about okay, I can either create some content for people, or I can or we can take snippets from our mentorship program and put that out there. So we're still trying to figure that part out, but yeah, I wanted to create something like that because I wanted people to be able to learn something. But
I
yeah,
feel like
all
I've
of
been
the
getting like the most out of YouTube videos and like just following the
yeah.
projects or trying to make them different than what's on there.
Well, it's because depending on your skill level too and what you're trying to learn, not all these people on YouTube, not all of them are targeting exactly what you're like the stack that you're trying to use. So like when you're first learning, your stack is really small and limited, but it's still the essentials what you need to know. And not everybody's covering those. Like most people are covering like React or Node.js with Express and things like
Yeah.
that. Things that are more um, like even as a beginner, you should eventually know how to use an Express server, but they don't cover it at some most places don't cover it at the level um, that you need it to, especially when you're a very beginner. It's like it's always like a gray area because it's hard. I know what you're saying because it's hard to find videos that target exactly like your needs. Like you always got to string multiple videos together and try to glean the information from them. Because I remember that's how it was when I was first learning and I was watching videos. I felt like I had to watch a million videos and then string all the information together somehow just to try to learn something from it because no one person was covering exactly what I needed. So yeah, um, we got yeah Omar. The we have a YouTube channel, but it will be dropped in there. All right. So give me 1 second. We got Ladybot wigging out about external links. So somebody tried to drop an external link. I think it was Hisser. I'll go ahead and fix that. Give me I'll fix that later. But yeah, it's because the here I'll paste it. Was it the YouTube channel link? I gotta fix that. So if anybody has noticed, I just started. We just got. We gave old Carl the boot, and we got Ladybot. Uh, that's the bot for the server, and and I set it up initially, but it's kind of in the testing phase because I got to see how the bot's doing when depending on what people are doing, and because I'm the manager, the owner of the server, it's not gonna complain about what I'm doing, not necessarily, but for everybody else, you might have a problem with it. If you do, just DM me, let me know what the problem is so I can fix it. So I just noticed it said external links are not allowed in this channel, and I'm finding a solution for that. So like, there's a reason why it's complaining about the external links, and one of the problems I was trying to handle with that is because I don't want people like to deter scammers or spamming and things like that. So um, yeah, I I I know Hissers never try to do that, so I know you're good, Hissers. So I'm gonna try to fix that or see if I can create. I was thinking about creating a badge that I can assign to you when you've been in the community for a certain amount of time. That will allow you, give you the permission to post links because at that point, then I know I could trust you. Like at this point, like I know I could trust Hisser, so I'd give Hisser the badge. And I know I could trust Irina, I'd give her the badge. I know I could trust Katie, I'd give her the badge. Like there's certain people that I've had enough time to get to know you guys. But the rest of you that are new, as I get to know you, I'll then eventually give you the badge so that way you can post stuff. And it's only because um, I've only had to ban 3 people from this server since it started, and it's mainly because they're trying to post external links to who knows where, and also because they were being very disrespectful and disrespecting people and calling them names. and saying and some people saying things that were really offensive. So like they got banned already. But if you have any experience with the AI, if the AI or if the bot, I'm sorry, the bot, if the bot says anything to you about something you're doing and you feel like, hey, I don't feel like this is a violation of any rule, just reach out to me and I'll fix that up. I'll investigate it and I'll fix it up. Uh, but yeah, I got to get that handled quick because I wanted you guys to be able to post links. Um, so I should probably allow us. I got to figure out how to allow certain types of links because there's so many links you can post out there that are allowable. So I'm trying to actually target certain links in specifically, but it's hard to do that if you see what I'm saying. Like if somebody has um, bad intention and they're giving a link that where they could possibly like give you a virus or 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 give you take your personal information or things like that, you can't really know until you click on it. So that's the reason why I did it. Because there was somebody in here posting links, and I clicked on one of them just to see where it was going to go. And I have malware bytes on my computer, and it said that it warned me about that link. So I don't know, malware bytes. If people don't know, if you look it up, malware bytes is like a really um, it's pretty popular, but it's really well known for um, for actually being able to detect real threats in links or you know, on websites or anywhere, and like real threats. So they're not just trying to like they actually put out how many threats are on the net and how many were deterred just like anybody else. But this place has already been officially verified that they actually find real threats. They're not just trying to say we found a threat just to get your money. They actually find real threats. So that's why I used it. Yeah. And when so I relied on it when it tells me if someone posts a link and it tells me it's a dangerous link, at that point you violated the server rules and I'm gonna ban you because because I'm not gonna allow somebody to post links that are harmful to everybody in the server. So yeah, that's just a work in progress. So if you guys have a if you guys have any issues with that, let me know. But I think that's my solution so far is to give a badge that I can assign you guys over time, and to allow you to give you more freedom to make posts with links. So, you know what I mean, as I get to know you. All right, so I'm gonna start those slides because I went on uh, talking for a long time. So we're gonna go on to the slides. Give me 1 second. Uh, Let me know if you can see my screen when I share my screen. I will try to, yeah, screen two. All right, can anybody see my screen? It's just gonna see Discord. You should see Discord. And if you click on it, if you just click on where I shared my screen, it should enlarge it. It'll enlarge it so that way you can see when I share. All right. All right, so I'm gonna share the slides. Give me 1 second. All right, so I have these slides I always share in this event. We're supposed to start from them for the beginning, but today I think we had some good conversations. So all right, so mostly this is just something I go over because of I work for a coding boot camp that I graduated from. So I went to a coding boot camp when I first started. Um, After I attempted self-taught. So when I first started, like I could just tell you real briefly. Um, when I first started, I was self-taught. I attempted self-taught. I didn't like it, and I felt like I needed like more direction, more like somebody to help me with the roadmap. Like I wanted professionals that were already in the industry to help me out. So then I started looking at other options, and that's when I discovered, because I already knew, you know, everybody knows about universities because we all grew up and we hear about universities right away, but I didn't know about coding boot camps. And then when I found out about coding boot camps, I started looking at a bunch of them until I found New Camp Coding Boot Camp. And there's a bunch of reasons why I went with them, which I'll get into later. But anyway, I graduated from there, and then I work with them now. And they give me some of the information in this slide. So in this slide's probably I don't know, 80 or 90% of this information they put together. I've edited, of course, I edit the information, but some of it is like the facts and things like that that are in here were given by them and the people that they have that um, put these things together um, that should fact check the data, things like that. All right, so just call me Fernando by my first name. Those of you guys that know me, you can call me just Fernando. Some people call me by my nickname. You could just call me Nan if you want, but Fernando. Uh, all right, so we got new camp coding boot camp graduate. So I told you about that already, and I'm also a full-time student at UAT. Um, they're in Tempe, Arizona, private university, but they're all tech university. That's why I went there because all they do is teach um, uh, they teach for degrees that are just tech focused, that are in the tech industry. They don't do all the other degrees you hear about. Like you can't go there for a medical degree or for a business degree or for anything non-related to tech. I know in some ways those things could be related to tech because you have medical now relying on software engineers to build software to help with medical with AI and all that stuff. But I mean, like when you're learning to be a doctor, you're not learning to be a software engineer. That's not tech related. So uh, just to give you an idea, but they give UAT is a tech focused university. That's why I went there, and their computer science program was very they covered a lot of things that the University of Arizona or the Arizona State University didn't even cover. So those are the two biggest universities in Arizona was ASU and U of A, and UAT covered things that they didn't even cover. So that's why I went with UAT. Um, I completed a software engineering apprenticeship where I was trained for 8 months by senior software engineers, and it was probably a dozen of them. It was about six of them in the first 4 months, and then six of them in the second 4 months. Maybe even more than that because some of them came and went. Like some of them I learned something from, and then the lady in charge at the time of the program, she would meet with all of us, and she wouldn't just pair program with us too, because she was a senior developer and she owned I don't know, she's a very successful person, owns businesses and has helped people create multi-million or multi-billion dollar startups. But anyway, she would pair program with us to check our progress, and then she would reassign another software engineer to us, depending on if they were how well they were helping us, because she wanted us to like really excel. So it was a good program. But Also I'm founder and CEO of Dark Mode Devs. All right. Why career in coding? Well, because the industry is booming, it's growing, like we all know that. But because there's a lot of opportunity too. So like, there's opportunity for people that are entrepreneurs, people that are not, maybe people that just want to just put their name out there and be freelancing. But anybody that's trying to build a company, like there's opportunities for that. There's opportunities to join tech companies and work for them. Like there's opportunities all over. Um, but like my main focus when I was first learning to code was I had ideas for apps at the time, and I wanted to build them myself. I didn't want to. I couldn't pay a developer or any team of developers, hundreds of thousands of dollars or $1 million to build an app for me. And I was really interested in learning how it went, how the process worked. And once I started coding, I just fell in love with it. Like I loved it. So like it just came naturally to me at that point, that I knew, okay, this is what I want to do, and that's when I stuck with it. Um, but why a career in coding? Well, just like we said, there's high demand, but there's a lot of competition too. So like there is high demand, like there's companies out there hiring still. They're not as hiring as much as they used to be. Like the I guess the numbers of how many people have been hired are lower, but there's still nonetheless they're still hiring. But it's because the um the level that they need you to be at entry level or junior level is higher now. Like the bar is higher. like I said, the bar higher for people that want to learn, that actually need to be job ready. So we talk more about that in the mentorship program too. So like that's something like we try to that we're working on you with. I say try because um it's up to you too. So like I can't guarantee that anybody's going to be job ready at the end of the program, because a lot of that depends on you, because you have to put in the time, you have to put in the work, you have to be paying attention, and it depends on how quickly you learn. Because we can work together the whole time, but I can only move as fast. Like in the mentorship program, I only move as fast as I see you capable of moving. I don't try to just take concepts and throw them at you even when you're not ready for them. I have a good way of gauging, because I get to know you. I see you every day and work with you every day. I get to know what level you're at and what you're capable of before I give you things to like move you along in your learning. Um, but uh, but there's boot camps and universities and self-taught, and there's mentorship. There's so many ways to get into tech, but like we'll get more into that. But the bar is higher. So like there is demand, but the bar is higher. They're looking for top talent now. Companies are more pickier. Like they're choosy. They want the best in the bunch for one. Like if it's one role, if for example if they're looking for junior developers and they're stating we're only going to hire one, and there's like three, four, 500 applicants, they're only going to hire one. So like that's what I mean. They're trying to target the best of the bunch. They might not get the best of the bunch because of the oversaturation, but they're going to get the best that they were able to get, I guess you could say, because it's hard to really go through 400 or 1,000 applications and interview all those people and know. You know what I mean? They don't really spend that much time doing it. That's why they use that third party software, um, where they have AI now scanning your application, and then based on the AI's recommendation, they're doing interviews from there. That's why it's all about the keywords in your resume, but that's like another thing that we could talk about, a different subject. But anybody can say what they want on their resume, and that's why they do technical interviews, because that's where you really prove if you're job ready, is the technical interview. Because you can say what you want on your resume, but in the end, if you can't do it, it's going to come out in the technical interview. All right, so also because the money, most people they just want more money. Like most people, they don't even, like I've met people that are capable of coding, but they don't even love doing it. I got into it because I wanted more money. That's what they say. Um, and some people, hey, whatever, if that's your reason, that's a good reason too. I mean, you're able to provide better for you, your family, or whatever situation you're in. But me, I always felt that, just me personally, that for me personally, I had to love what I was doing. Because if I did something that I didn't love doing, I'd be miserable every day. I'd go to work, come home, and I'd be a grouch every day because I hated what I did, especially when I used to work construction. So I don't tell people that a lot, but I share it here and there. When I used to I used to do blue collar work when I was younger, and doing construction, busting my hands and everything out there in the sun. And I live in Arizona, so it's hot. And there was days when I almost passed out from the heat, where I'd come home sunsick, and I hated the job. I hated it, but I did it to make a living at the time. However, I did it because I have family that owned construction companies at the time. It was really easy for me to just get in. I just walked right through the door because a family member owned it. I didn't even have to do an application or no interview. It was just, we got your information and you're hired, and this is how you're gonna get paid. And then because my family owned it, I could get the W-2 or I can get cash, whatever I wanted. They didn't care. It was just because it was family. And I did a lot of work like that, and I hated it. And sometimes even when the pay was good, like when I did commercial flooring back when it was good, that one week I made $2,000 doing a hospital with a team. Like we were on a team, we did a hospital, and my cut was almost $2,000, and I still hated it. I hated it. Like I was still miserable. So like that's what I mean is like you can you could do whatever you want, but do you love doing it? Like so that's what I tell people, you gotta love it, because the coding too, it gets very, very technical, and you're gonna want to make sure you love doing it. What about AI? We talked about AI. And if anybody's interested, we can go over it at some point and see, we could talk more about it. But I kind of stated what I stated already earlier, and I feel that AI is not going to replace developers right now. I'm not worried about that. But do feel that another developer who understands how to leverage AI is going to replace you. So like, or is going to be the pick. So in other words, like if say for example, uh, I don't know, I get this client and I need to hire another web developer or software developer, whoever it is, because depending on the application they want built. And I'm looking for somebody that can pass a technical interview, of course, somebody that's qualified, that knows their stuff. And then I find these people, and if even one of them knows how to use AI at the level that I believe it should be used, I'm gonna hire that person over everybody else. Even though the other people were capable, it doesn't matter whether I like the person or not. That doesn't even matter to me. Like it doesn't matter whether you like me or not, or I like you or not. Yeah, we have to work good together, but it's not about liking. It's about how well this person can get the work done and if I can rely on them. And if they know how to leverage AI and speed up development, that's going to be the person. Like that's how I look at it. Just to give you a feel for that. Um, uh, all right. So, because I believe there's ways we can use AI to make us better, but I believe there's ways we can use AI to where it can be a crutch, where it can really, really hurt us. So, we have this slide given to us by New Camp where we talk about how much difference would it make making this kind of money in tech. Of course, it makes a difference depending on how much money you're currently making. It can make a difference in a lot of people's lives. Uh, and you can afford to be as comfortable as you want if it's a remote job. Like that's why, the guy laying down has an office where he lays down and codes all day working for Microsoft. Uh, whatever works. Um, So why is there so much demand, like that last slide said? And I already kind of stated it, and it's because it's hard. It's not easy. It always starts easy. Everything starts easy, but once you get into like the nitty gritty, like the really meat and potatoes of it, it gets hard. Like it's hard. It's not easy, especially with the programming language. Um, it gets even harder. So like HTML, it's going to be easy, and it likely might stay easy. And I'm not saying you're just going to memorize everything because it's hard to memorize all those things that HTML can do, or like HTMX, how that one came out. So you're going to want to learn know JavaScript for that. But like HTML, there is a level to it that does get a little bit harder. But CSS, it starts off easy, and it's even it's easy too. And then it can get complex too because you got depending on what you're working with, Flexbox or Grid, or whether you're uh, doing like what do you call that? The hierarchy with complex nesting. That one's one that that can get you that where you want to know how to debug CSS really good, but also animations. If you're trying to create your own CSS animations instead of using like a third-party library, because most people they use the third-party CSS animation library rather than write the animation themselves in CSS. So ESS has a curve where it can get pretty hard too. Uh, but the programming language, that logic and everything that you have to know to use the programming language, especially with data structures and algorithms, big O analysis with time and space complexity and things like that, and all the built-in methods that or tools that the programming language has, that's the hard part. So like that's the really hard part. That's why I start there. So like in the mentorship program, when I teach people, we start with that part. We start with the programming language because if you can't wrap your mind around the programming language, you're not going to be able to be very proficient with your programming logic on the back end or even on the front end with React in a tech company. They're going to want you to be really, really proficient because anybody can string together a UI that looks decent, but I mean like programming logic, like the actual functionality or interacting with data and manipulating it and things like that, or knowing what data structures to choose when you're structuring data and things like that, or knowing how to optimize and speed up your application. All that goes with all that. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to get a job. It's going to be there's a lot to learn. Um, all right, so the luxury option. This is the 4 paths that we talk about. We kind of talked about a degree already, but I tell people that the degree is good if you can get it because in computer science it's going to be more in depth. It's going to be a lot more in depth. So like you're going to be 4 or 5 years on your bachelor degree depending on your university. Mine's going to be 5 years because I'm double majoring. So I'm double majoring in computer science and artificial intelligence. So mine's going to be 5 years whether I like it or not. But it goes a lot more in depth than a boot camp or some YouTube course or video online. It's gonna go more in depth than any Udemy course, like those courses you see online where you can just do them on your own time type deal. Um, and then it's got the structure that you need, which we're gonna get into later. Universities have a built-in structure that you need to that make you there's a reason why universities have worked for a long time, why people graduate from universities, and most of them, of course, not all of them. I'm not going to say 100%, but most people, I guess, that graduate from a university, uh, they get a job and they get a job in their related field that they studied. Most people do. Not all of them do because there's sometimes there's problems of oversaturation or dropouts. Like there's people that just drop out, they give up. And computer science has the highest dropout rate in the United States. So if you look that up, I've already looked that up myself because I was interested in that. I wanted to see how hard learning to code is on people. And computer science has the highest dropout rate in the country, in the United States. The highest dropout rate. So out of all degrees you can get, computer science is the hardest one to get. It's very technical. It's very demanding on your mind. You gotta have definitely gotta have the mind for it for the more advanced stuff that you need to know to get hired. Uh, but it costs a lot. It's expensive. All right. In the end, depending on your situation or how the way you're choosing to pay for it, whether you're paying for it up front or you're going through the Department of Education or whatever you're doing. In the end, no matter what, like even if you couldn't pay it up front, if you went through the Department of Education here in the United States and they pay for it up front for you, in the end you owe all that money and it's going to be a lot of money. It's going to be anywhere from 60 to 120 $130,000 for a bachelor's degree, and that depends on whether you were approved for grants too, because not everybody gets approved for grants. But if you got approved for the grants, it's going to cut it down to more like 50 $60,000 for a bachelor's degree when you finish. But if you don't get to qualify for the grants, then yeah, you're gonna take a hard hit. You're gonna owe a lot of money, a lot more money. So that's kind of the point that kind of turns things off for people when it comes to university. They're like, well, man, that's a big gamble. But like, just try not to see it as a gamble. I think it's only a gamble if you know you're not going to finish it, or like if you don't have the drive to continue. Because at a university, they don't lock you in. They lock you in for 4 years. They try to, but they don't lock you in. Because there's dropouts. So of course they don't. You're not locked in, but you're not locked into your major either. Like if you were to take computer science, you can always say, well, I tried learning the code. It's not for me. I'm gonna try something else in the tech industry. Maybe you'll get into something else. I mean, there's plenty of other degrees you can get related to the tech industry or any other industry and be successful too. So uh, you just gotta know what's for you. All right, so boot camps. We got the boot camps. They cost less, but they're still expensive. So we have a lot of boot camps out there that are 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000. I think one of the boot camps I seen at the time when I was looking for a boot camp, the most expensive boot camp I seen was almost $60,000. And I was like, no way. Like, if I'm going to pay that much for a boot camp, I'm just going to go to the university. So it didn't make no sense for me to pay to go to a boot camp, to pay that much money for a boot camp. And then that's when I found New Camp Coding Boot Camp because they were the cheapest boot camp in the United States and they offered all the same things that those more expensive boot camps offered. So like if you're interested in a boot camp, I'm telling you right now, New Camp's curriculum is the same as the others. New Camp has instructors. And they have more affordable prices. Their boot camps are a hell of a lot cheaper, like a lot better priced. Um, it's like boot camps are only like 6 months too. Like now the boot camps are shorter. When I went to New Camp, the full stack boot camp was 8 months, I believe. Now it's 6 months, but it's also cheaper. It's also I think around $3,000 or less around there, and then you can pay zero till you graduate, and then pay after you graduate. That's if you qualify for that because with New Camp you have to apply to one of their third party lenders, and they'll let you know what plan based on your credit that they're gonna approve you for. And at the time, I got approved for pay zero till I graduate. So I went all in. I was like, not only is this the cheapest boot camp, they have the same curriculum. I'm gonna be learning a similar stack as all the other ones, a tech stack. Like the tech stack. We could talk about that if nobody knows what that is. And and I don't have to pay nothing till I finish. So I was all in. I went all in with it. All these other places were different. Then we have the income share agreement. The income share agreement is when you go to either a boot camp or some company that offers to train you for a cut of the pie. In other words, what they're going to do is they're going to train you to be job ready, and then they're going to guarantee you a job, and but you have no choice but to take that job whether you like it or not, because it's part of the contract. And what they do is, say for example, they get you a job that pays you 90,000 a year, they're gonna take like $30,000 of that every year until you pay them off. And I had a friend that did that as a junior developer, and now a senior developer, and it costed her probably $100,000 or so, a lot of money. She didn't pay that off. It took her about 3 or 4 years of working with that company's employers to pay that income share agreement off. But she has an established career, and then now 3 4 years down the line, she's able to, her check's hers now because she was able to leave that. Once you satisfy any contract like that, you're able to walk away on that point, and then you'll have a better time, getting into the tech industry because you've already been in the industry. And then at that point she was already mid-level, and then now senior level. And so I give people that example because if you're willing to make that trade-off, if you're willing to sacrifice a large portion of your yearly salary, then go for it. Because that's all. There's programs out there that are like that. Uh, but she said the way she called it was more of a desperate approach because she had just finished college and was desperate to get into the industry, and so she was willing to make the sacrifice at the time, but in hindsight regrets it because if you think about it, I mean, that's a big hit. Like I mean, we can all use that extra 20, 30, whatever $1,000 a year that they're taking. That's like out of every paycheck. Every time you get a paycheck, not only does a portion go to Uncle Sam because we all got to pay taxes, a portion of that goes to that income share agreement, and then you're going to be left with probably half as much of whatever your income was for that month. So, like for example, if you got a high-paying developer role, and let's just say you're making 6,000 a month, we'll just use that as an example because I don't know. There's people, high-paying is relative, and depending on when you get who you get hired by, your salary is going to be different. They're not all the same. But let's just say, for example, it's $6,000 minus all your expenses, and I mean, not your expenses. I'm sorry, not all your expenses, but at least minus your taxes. At least we'll take that into consideration because there's more expenses than that. But at least your taxes and your income share agreement, you're going to be left with probably half of that. So you'll still be making, if you look at it, it'll be like you're making like if you're working a full-time job somewhere else anyway, like if unless you love coding that much, but you'd be making 3,000 a month after you satisfy your contract for about 3 or 4 years, maybe, what I mean, depending on the contract, maybe 2 years. Some of them try to shorten it to 2 or 3 years. So like that's like the hit as a junior developer you'd be taking if you go through a program like that. So it depends on how bad you want it. That's why she called it desperate, because in the tech industry, you're likely going to work more than an 8 hour day. You're going to be working a lot. Like they want people because they're salaried, not necessarily to rely on the 8 hour shift. If they need you for 10 hours or 12 hours or overtime to finish a project on time, you got to be there. If they want you on the weekend, you need to be there. If they want you in the middle of the night because the software went down and you're one of the people that can fix it, you have to be there. Like there's a bunch of reasons the tech industry pays a lot. It's not just a normal, like, I'm just gonna work 8 hours today, take my lunch and my breaks like any other job. Like, it's a lot more difficult than that. It's more demanding than that. Um, so cost to teach yourself is zero. We talked about that, which is self-taught. You can pay as low as zero, or you can pay whatever you want to invest in your learning. But you're all by yourself, just doing it all alone. No accountability. You don't got no structure, no roadmap unless you figure that out on your own. You don't got no instructor, no network, nothing unless you start building a network. Um, you got to figure it all out on your own. But some people can do it. Very few people I've ever met have been able to do it. Me, I didn't like it. I could have done it if I wanted to be stubborn. I could have done it. I could have been stubborn and spent years and years and years learning on my own, but I didn't because um, um, I wanted to get all the information in front of me right now, and I wanted people to tell me, like, I wanted this. I wanted to be prepared and successful as quickly as possible, and I didn't want to have to. I guess how I usually say, I felt like I was out in the middle of the sea, and all I see um, is the blue sky all around me. That's how I felt. I didn't want to be swimming through the sea looking for where I should be going, what direction I should be going, what I should be doing. You know what I mean? It just not something. It just didn't feel like it was my thing. I didn't care to carry that badge. Like some people that are self-taught, they carry it like a badge, like they're better than everybody else. Like I'm self-taught. Wow, wow, wow. Well, good for you. I'm glad you're able that it worked for you. But me, I didn't care about that. I was like, no, I'm not gonna. I'm not. I have a friend also that I tell people about that did self-taught for 4 years, and in hindsight, she said if she would have just taken a boot camp, she would have learned what she learned in 6 months at a boot camp in 4 years. Like, or I'm sorry, the other way around. So what she learned self-taught in 4 years, she could have learned at a boot camp in 6 months, if that makes sense. Yeah, there we go. But that's basically her experience, and she's self-taught. And there's plenty of other people that say the same thing. That yeah, if they would have went to university or even a coding boot camp, they would have learned everything that they tried learning on their own in a lot shorter time because you're just attempting to do it all by yourself. The other option, get a mentor, which is the mentorship program where we go one-on-one in class setting or one-on-one together, and we teach you full stack development or whatever it is that you feel like you want to target. But we recommend going through the curriculum or what we have planned for you because, like I said, we start with the programming language because you have to really, really, really understand that to do anything. That's just my opinion, and that's most people's opinion. If I don't know if I can invite some people from my network that are already senior developers to into my network, they would tell you guys the same thing, guaranteed, because the programming language is the most important thing. And I try to tell people that all the time. The HTML and CSS is not going to get you hired. It's just a small step in your progress. The thing that's going to make you stand out and that gets you hireable is that programming language. But um, but also mentors always available. Like most mentors, right? In our program, we are. Like I tell my students all the time, or mentees. I call them mentees because that's just how we do it, mentor and mentee. But I tell them all the time, hey, DM me whenever you want. If I gave you homework, whether it was optional or not, DM me when if you're going over it and you need help before our session because we have 2 hour sessions 5 days a week every evening, and it's Monday through Friday. And I tell people, right there when we're doing our live sessions together, if you have any questions afterwards or before as we move along, let me know. Like, don't be shy. Like, take advantage of what's going to make you better, like or help you learn better. Um, but yeah, structures provided to all those things, same things that we talked about already. But the strategies are good because some people they want to know, like some people they want to know what strategies that they should be looking for that are being implemented in these programs. So like I tell people, like if you're taking a program somewhere and it doesn't have these strategies in it, then it's likely not a good program that you should be taking. And they're pretty obvious once we start talking about them. So, and it's because it's online learning, and because online learning is different than in-person learning. But even online can be somewhat in person too, because like we're still in person when we're in a live session. Like for the mentorship program, that's the way we learn. We're in the live session, like we're live. I'm not just telling you watch some video and cut and paste this code. No, that's not what we do in there. We're like live pair programming, coding. Um, so it's like it's as if we were in person. You know what I mean? Uh, but these 7 key strategies you're gonna want to look for even in programs that have you watching videos and copying along what they're doing. But I just don't really advocate for those programs too much because those programs are kind of they're not always the best approach for people to learn. Not everybody learns the same, and they're not always the best approach for people to learn. But one of them is need to put skin in the game, which is not just money, it's your time too. Because you got to think of your time as valuable and money's valuable, right? Like we all know money's valuable because we need it to live, to have a roof over our head, to eat, and things like that. Um, to have a phone, have the internet, whatever it is we're doing. We need money. We need money to have a car. You get the point. But it's the same thing with our time. If you think about it, our time is valuable because our time is limited on Earth, and where are we investing our time that's beneficial to us and our family. Like that's the important part is you got to be thinking about is like where am I investing my time that's the most beneficial to me and my family. Of course everybody needs their downtime, so I'm not trying to take that away from anybody. So if you have like downtime, depending on what you're doing, it's good to have that downtime, to have that escape, to get away from all the demands and stresses or pressures of life, and just do something that you like doing that's unrelated to those things. But you also want to make sure you're investing your time wisely. But normally, depending on how much your investment is on your time and your money, you're gonna be up, you're gonna be there, you're gonna show up. You know what I mean? If this is one of this that's one of the reasons why something like Code Academy or Free Code Camp, or like someone earlier in a conversation I had over the week was telling me about the boot camp they started with 100 devs, but they've been in that boot camp for 7 years and haven't finished it. That's one of the reasons why you don't finish it, because there's no investment, and likely there's no schedule, there's no we'll just start talking about it. I'm just gonna get to these slides. There's like I was saying before, you need real deadlines. So if the program doesn't have a real deadline, I mean like a real deadline, like I could put something online and have people pay for it and say, hey, um, you can finish this on your own time, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. I don't care, right? Like it's just on your own time whenever you see fit. But that's not a real deadline. Even if I said hypothetically, hey, you could get through this part of each section of this course in a week, and that's how I'm expecting you to do it. That doesn't mean you're gonna do it, because I'm not really there with you making sure that you do it. It's just recordings and readings and copying and pasting. There's not really no real deadlines there, because there's no real people keeping you in check, like keeping you on track. Um, and then you need to combine synchronous and asynchronous learning. And this is what NewCamp put in there. But for people that don't know about synchronous and asynchronous programming in JavaScript, that's why they have it there. Just to put it in plain English. And what they mean is that you need to be taking courses or coursework that you can go through at your own pace. But you also needed to be taking coursework um, and getting it done with other students, like collectively, even with an instructor. Sometimes you're collective with an instructor. So like that's what New Camp does. Like New Camp, they have a mixture. So like what they do is they have the online platform where you do some of the work yourself, and then they have the class meetings where you meet up with the other students and the instructor, and they make sure that you understood and can do or reproduce the concepts that you learned throughout the week before they move on to new concepts in the next week. So like you have an instructor along the way, and then you can always reach out to your instructor because New Camp has a Discord server, and you can always reach out there in that community and get help from other students or from other instructors. Even if it's not your instructor, you can always just post it and be like, hey, I'm stuck, or hey, I need help, or hey, I have a question. You're gonna get answers. So like that's what makes people that graduate from New Camp more successful, uh, versus taking a Udemy course, because you have that structure behind you, and there's a lot of people that do get jobs after boot camps. There's some people that don't, but there are some people that do, because like I said, not all learnings. It's not like I could say that one learning style, it's not like a cut and paste. Like I can't just put this learning style and impose it on everybody and say that if you follow this and this, you're guaranteed to get higher. I can't do that. Nobody can. um, but the best thing I can do is get to know you individually and move with you, and make sure that you're understanding things as we move along. That's the best way I found, especially with the live feedback, the one-on-one feedback you get like live. um, you need peer pressure. So, but that's the good pressure, like people pushing you to grow, improve, and do the work, things like that. That's all that means, not nothing bad. You and your work need to be seen, and we talked about that. Like at a boot camp or at a university or at the mentorship program, your work's going to be seen. Like people are going to see your work, especially if it's your professor or an instructor that's more experienced than you. Everybody's seeing your work. Your mentor, they're seeing your work. You're getting the feedback that you need to reinforce the reinforcement that you did it right or that you did it wrong, even because you can't look at the negative. You got to look at the negative in software engineering as a positive thing, because you got to learn to see both as in a good light, because the feedback you're going to get from either is going to be valuable. Like even if you did something wrong, who cares? Let's see how we can make it right and how we can do it better. Like you have to look at it positive. Like don't think just because you screwed something up or didn't do it right that you should be embarrassed or that you shouldn't share that, because that's not how you're going to learn. You're actually working against yourself if you do that. You need end of course incentives, and we know all those are. Mostly it's you get the degree or the certificate you finished. It's an accomplishment because it shows that you had also the dedication to see it through. Also, some places, like I said, they offer jobs at the end with their partners, or like the income share agreement boot camps. They're gonna guarantee you a job when you finish, but at a cost, at a heavy cost. But nonetheless, it's still a motivating factor. So, like, if I feel like, you know what, my self efforts of trying to work for all these companies, XYZ companies, isn't working, I'm just gonna go to one of these programs, and they don't really have to train me much because I already know, but I'm willing to make the sacrifice. That's what's gonna happen. Is I'll end up going through their course anyway, probably faster than most people because I don't got to learn from scratch, and they're gonna guarantee me a job, but I'm gonna take a big hit every paycheck until that agreement is fulfilled. Uh, you need assignments to actually get you a job. So yeah, you do, because most boot camps and universities, they're covering topics that are essential, like essential learning, or that are like the foundation of what you need to know to get a job. So with those type of institutions, you normally don't have to worry about this one unless it's some unknown source online that you're dealing with and you want to know, okay, well, is the stuff that they're teaching us going to be actually going to help us get a job? And so like that's the always something to check. But yeah, in the mentorship program, we're giving you uh we're trying to get you job ready and give you things that we work on are to help you actually get a job. It's not like you're learning web development, but we're trying to get you to the level where it's professional, like where it's high level professional, not always stuck in one spot. All right, so option that's check all these boxes. Of course, New Camp Coding Bootcamp. Uh, so yeah, they do a good job, and they are like a really big, well-known boot camp, and they do get people hired when they finish their boot camps. But success is not guaranteed. It depends on the person. Like I said, it always depends on you, because you can drop out, or you can give minimal effort, or you can somehow get through it without paying much attention. So like that's another thing I bring up, is that I've had students in my mentorship program that completed a boot camp, whether it was 6 months or a year long. And when I gave them an assessment for the program and they started their first day with me, they couldn't even write a variable or a function after all that time at a boot camp. And that's ridiculous. And so I was curious, why in the heck, like how the hell is that possible? So like that's why my mentorship program too is, I also feel the one-on-one mentorship is very important, or at least taking advantage of when you have instructors, because new camp is like they got a lot of experienced instructors too, and you have to be willing to take advantage of that. Like just take advantage of that and make sure that you're understanding these things as you're moving along, because um, you don't want to be that person that invested all that time, and then when you get out, you still can't code a lick a code, right? You can't just like, I don't know. All right, so we got the boot camps they offer there are web dev fundamentals, front end web and mobile, full stack web and mobile, back end with SQL, cybersecurity, and job hunting. So these are all separate boot camps, but the web development fundamentals is not going to get you hireable. All that's going to do is get you job ready, or I'm sorry, get you your feet wet, like towards, maybe it's gonna let you know, okay, I like web development or not. And it's front end. It targets front end because it's HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. So web front end, web mobile, that one's going to get you job ready for a front end role. Full stack for a full stack role, back end for a back end. Cybersecurity is completely unrelated as far as the profession goes. Like, I mean, like it has its own field, a specialized field, but there are cybersecurity, there is parts of cybersecurity that we should still have knowledge of as web developers or as, for developing apps and websites, which I cover in the mentorship program. Of course, I cover it there. I talk about a little bit of cybersecurity because I'm not a cybersecurity like professional, but I do know what elements of cybersecurity we need to be learning or worried about in web development. So we cover those things there. All right, job hunting is where they help you prepare your resume, your social profiles, and they help you learn how to network. And they do interview prep, and you still keep studying algorithms and data structures. So that way, you can be ready for a technical interview. Complete software engineering path is this is a separate boot camp, but it comes with all four of these boot camps in one, where you're going to do the fundamentals first and you're going to have full stack and then more in depth on the back end, because it's really important as a full stack developer to have a really in-depth knowledge of the back end. And then you're going to be doing the job hunting boot camp too. So they combine all these four boot camps into one, which is called the complete software engineering path. And it's probably about, I believe it's about $5,000 for that one. We can look at their website if anybody wants. Um, All right, so like, and this is basically what it equates to. So like, if you don't get paid, if you don't get approved for zero till you graduate, then this is what it looks like making payments. So like, to take the web development fundamentals, it's two payments of 229 and etc. Like they have payments, but it says right here, pretty much I'll have to check the website to see how up to date this amount is, but it's about $5,000 for the complete software engineering boot camp. But that's still a lot less than all these other boot camps out there that charge. So like all these other boot camps out there that charge money, they're gonna for that type of boot camp right here, the complete software engineering, I guarantee you they're gonna charge you like uh 15, 20, maybe even $40,000 for that. Where new camp is like dirt cheap compared to that. New camp's really cheap compared to that. And I don't mean that in a negative way either. Like they're just really affordable. They're more affordable. So it's like it says, affordable, flexible, structured. So you get the structure, and you can take part-time or full-time classes, and it's affordable. They're not trying to charge a whole lot of money for their boot camps. They're just you know what I mean. It's not very expensive. In the grand scheme of things, I mean, because the $5,000 is a lot of money, but $5,000 is not very expensive for that boot camp. But I mean, they're giving you a lot for that price, like a lot, and that's including the live instructors, the community of other instructors and students, and everything else on top of that. All right, so you get 5% off the registration fee when you use my link. So if you use my link for New Camp, I can get you 5% off the registration fee, and I can get you maximum, I believe, is anywhere from $40 up to, I think it's actually $30 or $40 at the lowest, but on the highest end, it's up to like $400 that I can get you off of the boot camp, depending on what boot camp it is. And then we have the mentorship program, which is currently 50% off, where if you want to just check us out and give it a shot, you can just pay us $50 for the first week. We can try it. And if you feel you want to continue, you could keep paying $50 a week if you want. So I've had students that have paid both ways. Some people have paid for a whole month up front. Some people have just said, you know what, I just want to check it out for a week and see if I'm going to like it or see if I'm going to like working with you, basically. And I'm fine with that. I don't care. You know what I mean? One person, I gave him a free demo. Like one guy, he's one of our students right now. He wasn't sure if he would like it, so I told him, all right, I'll give you a free demo. And I gave him a demo, and he loved it, and he signed up now. Now he's signed up. So like, just let me know if you're interested in that kind of thing. We're not going to go over these things here, but write a new chapter in your life, which means if you want to get to coding, get to coding. Don't sleep on it because it's rewarding. It's going to be great. It's fun, especially if you love it. It's fun. It's like it'll be like if you're not working when you're coding. Like you just love it. You get immersed in it. Right, Q&A, normally Q&A. So I'm gonna go ahead and go back to Discord. Any questions? Anybody? Questions? Oh, we do have one question from Omar. Could you share us that curriculum of your method? Yes. So I'll show you where you can get the curriculum right now. All right. So let's go back. We'll keep watching my screen. We're gonna go back to my company website. So let me go there real quick. Yeah, let's go look up Google Dark Mode Devs. Of course, we're at the top. And on the company website, you just got to navigate to right here, the mentorship tab here. And in here, you're going to see the full stack development curriculum. This is just at a glance where you're going to have, where we have, I need to update it just a little bit, but it's still pretty much up to date. This is the majority of what we offer. I just need to add a couple things to it. But basically, we start with problem solving and the programming language. And then we go into front end, back end, leveraging AI, project management, project building, career guidance, and networking. But the AI part, it kind of shifts around. So, like, what I mean by that is we can be in the problem solving stage, but we're still leveraging AI to some degree. Because what I try to do is I try to teach you the pros and cons of using AI and why I don't want you using AI when we're pair programming. But then at the same time, I can show you how to use it, um, how you should be using it. In other words, you could download the program details here. So if you click on it, it's going to show you the program details here. And it starts off with of course, with an introduction. It's got the curriculum, and it goes more into depth. It'll tell you problem solving, but it'll give you a better idea of what we're doing in the problem solving. The front end to the back end, leveraging AI, what I mean about that, and what we're going to get into there. And then the project management, project building, and career guidance and networking. And I just need to add, I think I got to add another, just another detail somewhere. And that's it. But that's it. Other than that, like I said, you can download it if you like. It's up to date. It's for the most part, it's got all the information there for the program. And then we have these buttons here. If you want to sign up for, if you're interested, you can let me know here on the platform, like DM me, hey, I'm interested in group mentorship or one-on-one mentorship. And this talks more about it here on the website. And then you can go ahead and um, if you click on one, it's just gonna take you through PayPal. And most people know if they have a PayPal account, then you're gonna know it's trusted. That I'm not, taking anybody's information because it's governed through PayPal. I don't want your information. Don't give me your credit card information or none of that. You give it to PayPal, not me. So, and then you just choose, like, if you just want 1 week, you just pick the quantity 1 week, and then you hit your, however method you want to pay, whether through Venmo, pay later, or debit or credit. Because PayPal does have a pay later option where you can, like one student that I know of did that where they paid for a whole month through pay later, and then they paid the pay they just paid payments through PayPal at that point. PayPal bills them and handles that. PayPal pays me right away, but PayPal um, collects it from the mentee later on. However, whatever the agreement was that they set up through that option. So like there's always that option too, depending on what you want. And then there is a like say for example, I tell people like so one person asked, well, what if I paid for 6 months up front? I said, well, you can, and then they're like, well, what if I want to end early? I said, well, up at say for example, you paid for 6 months, but you only went a month. Well, um, then at that point the other 5 months will be going back to your account because I'm gonna end up requesting a refund for 5 months for the 5 months you paid up front that you didn't actually attend through PayPal. But on the same side, we got to be fair here because like if you didn't, like for example, if you paid for like if you paid for a month and throughout that month you were maybe because we're 5 days a week, so that's 20 days throughout the month you're expected to show up, and you're not showing up, but you're just giving excuses why you didn't show up, but maybe you showed up some of those days, but then later on you want to tell me that, hey, I should get refunded on some of those days. Well, there in the agreement, that's it's gonna let you know that if you're just not showing up, eventually I'm just gonna kick you from the program to tell you the truth, because I feel like it's if you're not taking advantage of it and you're not gonna show up, there's no point in me collecting money from you and wasting each other's time, because my whole goal is to get you to another level, and you're not going to get to another level if all you do is make excuses and you're only showing up part of the time. Just a FYI there. So I'm not just like, obviously with my prices, I'm not all about the money. Like I'm also all about helping people. And if I feel like I can't work with you, I can't help you, then I'm just gonna kick you from the program before it even gets that far. But yeah, under certain circumstances, you will get a refund, so don't sweat that. Um, but you guys all have access to me here. But for the mentorship program, there's more access. We get more in-depth access, like because we're in the mentorship program, we're going over things we go over in those sessions. So, and I'm obligated to help you in your learning during those sessions and outside of those sessions with anything related to those sessions. So, any other questions? No other questions. All right. Um, well, I think we do. Omar's typing. All right. Omar said thank you. Well, yeah, thank you, Omar. Yeah, thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. But like, if you guys have any questions about anything right now, like, do you guys have questions about, like, not just the slides I shared, but about anything, like anything that's on your mind that's related to coding? I don't mind if you ask. Like, I just want to get that out of the way real quick, and then maybe we can go to maybe somebody has something of interest we can go over. Oh yeah, I still have to get into the project too, so I will be getting into the group project right now and shortly. But before we do that, I like to make sure I answer your guys' questions. Oh yeah, Katie, yeah, we can't wait to have you there. We'll see you tomorrow evening. So we'll be starting tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Arizona time or Pacific time, because it's in line with Pacific time right now. And then so, all right, Charles, thank you. But yeah, Katie, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every evening, Monday through Friday. Um, so yeah, you'll have that. And then yeah, I can't wait to see you there either. Um, all right, so no questions. We're gonna get into the project. So we got this group project going on. So when I built this network, I wanted us to build. I wanted my whole intention of this Discord was to build a network of developers, whether we're aspiring developers or we're already developers. It didn't matter. Like, I didn't care what level of experience you're at. It doesn't matter to me. I wanted you here if you want to code to whatever level of coding you're capable of, and I wanted to build an interactive network where we're all helping each other. Even if you're not here from one of my programs, it doesn't even matter. You don't have to be in one of my programs to be here. Like, you're welcome here regardless. And I'm trying to get people to be a little more active on this platform, so that way, like, if you're working on, maybe you have a side project, or maybe you're just learning to code and you get stuck and you just need to ask a question to get some help. That's the whole purpose of this place, is so that way somebody with some experience that can answer your queries, you can get answers to those queries. So like, that's the whole, what I mean, other than building relationships, like, we all get to meet each other and help each other in some way. And then for those of you that are from Tucson, Arizona, if you're in Tucson, Arizona with me, or hey, maybe you'll want to meet in person, I'd be open to that too. Me, Irina, go meet you in person somewhere and hang out something. Maybe we'll go to Starbucks and do some take our computers and do some coding or something. But yeah, it's normally what we do. We've only met I think one person so far that was from Tucson that met up with us a few times in person, and it was cool. We thought it was cool, even if it was just one person. It was still cool. All right, so because most people like things online, there's no secret. Like, most of us, we want to be online, comfortable at home or whatnot. All right, so I'm gonna get into the project really quick. So on the project, oops, we're using Miro. So we're using Miro for give me one second. Yeah, let me see where we are. All right, here we are. So we're using Miro for our project management software because it's free, and it does look a little chaotic, but you can get used to that. It's not too bad to navigate it once you learn how. Um, Let me open up the GitHub. We'll get to the GitHub in a second. But for the project is in Ingest IQ AI. Oh, excuse me. Whoa, what is that? All right, so let's delete that. Somebody added a line there. All right, so initially when we started, we did some brainstorming, and then we have the original idea, which I can go over in this area. I believe I updated in the other area too. No, I don't think I did. But anyway, right here, the idea is that we got this. We want to create this platform where users can like for example, say for example you got this, I don't know, even though most people, maybe some of us do, most of us don't, like once in a while I'll eat one, like a TV dinner for example. Like sometimes I'll see a TV dinner because I'm being lazy, I don't want to go to the kitchen and start cooking. And so if you're like in the store, you can get the app, and then you can take a picture of the nutrition label because you want to know, well, what are these ingredients in this food before I consume it. Well, the app was gonna take that picture and it's gonna parse the text out from it. It's gonna extract the text from it and feed it to the AI, and the AI is gonna be set up so that way it gives you feedback on those ingredients, what those ingredients are, and what are the pros and cons of consuming it. And then it's even like that for even one ingredient. Say you're looking at the bag of nutrition label and you're like, well, all I want to know is what this one ingredient is right here. We have it set up for that option too, where you can just type in one ingredient and it'll tell you, um, all right, this is what's going on with that one ingredient. This is what it is, and the pros and cons of consumption of that ingredient. So that's the main, basically in a nutshell, what it's about, what the app, the group project we're working on here is about. We do have all this documentation I wrote originally for the idea when I came out with it, and we have the app flow here, which is the main app flow of how the app should flow, basically what I told you. And then we have a style guide here, and this is our official logos that we went with already. Um, and uh, and then we have the app flow version 2 here, which is just to add more features. So we're going to be adding more features to that one eventually, but that's way later. That's if we decide to do that. But for now, we're trying to at least get the original idea built, which is this flow here, this flow chart here. So we got wireframes, but they're low fidelity wireframes, which are called lo-fis, lo-fi prototyping. In other words, or lo-fi wireframes, whatever you want to call them. But low fidelity, which means that we can draw them with pen and paper or even on a computer, but they're very, very basic. They're just like somewhat of a roadmap. So when we're building the front end, we know where everything should be, and then when we then so we can and then it helps us with some of the logic or the navigation of the app itself, things like that. We have oh yeah, especially because the functionality, we need to know where the functionality is going to be, things like that. But anyway, this is the desktop version of what it might look like, and this is the Figma version of the desktop version of what it might look like. It's coming closer to this one. Um, it's coming close to that, and then we have the tablet layout, which is showing that it's scrollable. That's why it's off the little tablet template here, because it's likely gonna be scrollable. Um, and then we're using the uh, for task management, we're using this big old chart here that we got from Miro. So we have a development team here. That these are the people already part of the development team, and then we have a design team. The design team's already done. The design team was small, but the design team finished all their tasks so far. Unless we find any tasks that we might need the design team to work on, they're done right now. The marketing is not ready yet. This is the marketing team. There's nobody there except for me and Irina, because we're not that far yet. We're not ready for that yet. Eventually, we'll be ready for that, but right now we're not ready for that yet. But we're going to be getting there. For the development side, we have tasks. So like these ain't all the tasks, but if you see a task, if you want to get involved, you see a task that's not listed, you can list it. And then when you pick up a task, all you got to do is move it to the in progress section if you want, and then you would just add your name to it. And then once you add your name to it, you start working on it, and then that tells me, okay, this person is the one contributing this work to this project. And then once it's completed, you put it in this area right here. And that lets me know, okay, this person did this, and this task was completed by this person, and lets me know that you actually contributed something to the project. Because to tell you guys the truth, like there was a lot of people that signed up, but very little people contributing. So everybody that wasn't contributing, they got kicked. So like if I gave you access to the GitHub and you no longer have it, it's because you haven't contributed anything yet. So don't take that the wrong way. All that means is that it's still not too late because we're not done with the project yet, and you can still contribute in some way. So like all you got to do is just reach out, DM me, be like, hey, I want to contribute to the project, or hey, I got kicked. Can you send me um, here's my GitHub username. Can I get access again? I want to contribute, and that's it. And I'll give you access. And of course, if you don't contribute, I'm gonna kick you again. But you can ask again. So like I'm very open to people coming on board and helping us out. I just want people active. That's all. Because I got to keep track of who's actively contributing. Because if you think about it, in the end in the end, people want to put the project on their resume and all that, or even benefit from the project. If we were to successfully monetize it, then they would want to benefit, right? But I'm only going to want the people to benefit because it's only fair to the people that benefit are the people that really contributed to it. Like we can't have hundreds of people benefiting from something they didn't contribute to. Like we just can't have that. That's not fair. That's not fair to the people that did contribute. And it's the same thing even if we don't monetize it, even if we got nothing out of it, but we learned a lot. So we did get valuable things from it because we're learning through it. But we're able to put it on our resume. If you're trying to apply somewhere and they're like, hey, we're calling regarding so and so, did they contribute to this project and wah wah wah. If you're not on that list, I'm gonna be like, no, they didn't. Um, so yeah, just FYI there about that. All right, so then we have the our AI health project, and that's what our original name was for it because we didn't have a brand and a logo for it yet, but now we have Ingest IQ AI, so I updated the README a little bit just to include the logo and stuff. But there's still more updates. I still got to update this README. It's not 100% updated yet, but we have a main branch, a dev branch, feature upload. This is what the branch Irina's working on, so she just put her name on it. Whatever whatever helps. Like you can call it something like feature upload or splash screen, whatever the component is or whatnot. Or if you're going to work on a certain feature, you can put it in the feature section and I can merge it later on. Whatever. Or you can just work straight up in the development branch because nobody has access to the main branch. I'm the only one with access to the main branch. Everybody has access to every other branch though. And there's a reason for that because in the main branch, I'm keeping one copy so we don't have to worry about trying to later on reverse, like if somebody works in the development branch and they screw things up, I don't want to have to worry about, well, let's track this and see where things went wrong and try to restore that history. I'm just gonna just right away fix it because I have a good copy always right here in the main branch. This is gonna eventually be the production branch, the main branch, but it's gonna be the untainted or always like a backup of the project at every milestone. So once we get to a certain milestone and I test it and I feel like, okay, this is a saving point, I'm going to save it in the main branch because the development branch, there's things that can go wrong and I don't want to go through the long drawn out process of fixing that later on when I can just fix it right here by remerging it. This is that simple. So that's why I did it that way. Um, But you could through GitHub, if you learn how to use GitHub commands good enough, we can look through the version control and the history, and we can do a restore where we can restore it at a certain point. But me, I just rather not deal with all that. Me, I know how to do it, but it's a time-consuming process. When all I can do is I got the copy here, and I can just keep it up to date, and as we move along, and I can just restore it if someone screws it up. So don't worry about screwing it up. It's not bad. If you feel like you want me to review something before you push it to the GitHub repo, that's fine too. Like I can because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have code reviews to some extent on what we're doing, even if it's during the meetings we're doing. But yeah, this is the GitHub. All you got to do is give me your GitHub username, so I can show you right now. If we go to collaborators on this one, let me log in on my GitHub mobile. Give me 1 second, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. All right, so we were logged in, and this is basically the contributors that have contributed something. Uh, Brendan, Irina, Joseph, Rigel, Zilola, and me. Lou actually hasn't. Lou's on here, but there's a reason I left Lou on here, but Lou actually hasn't contributed yet, so maybe I should give Lou the kick, give Lou the boot. So Lou, if you're watching this video later, you better reach out. All right, so but Lou's a good guy. He's got like 20 some years of experience. I think he said 25, 26 years of experience as a senior developer. But he wasn't a web developer. He did other software, like other other software. I think I forget. I believe Python or something. But he's got a lot of experience. If anybody, he said at one point he was willing to help anybody if anybody reached out to him. All right, so that's basically that's basically that. If anybody has any questions about that or wants to get involved in the project, then you just let me know. So like for now, let me show you this. If you want to get involved in the project, I could share the Miro link with you. So let me copy the link for Miro, and then so it's right here in the chat. So if you want to join the Miro board, so anybody can join the Miro board. I don't care how many people we have on the Miro board right now. So that way you can review the project on the Miro board and see if you're interested in it. And if you feel like, yeah, I can contribute here, I want to contribute, then that's when you want to DM me with your GitHub username, and I'll add you to the projects. That way you have access to the GitHub, so you have access to the code and things like that. And then any recordings or any events we do, I usually post them on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, um, unless there's an issue with that. Like in other words, like I'm recording this session here, but I use OBS Studio for the recording, and sometimes there's the sound doesn't always record for some reason. There's bugs or something, or or maybe there's some other issue with it, so I just don't post it. But for right now, I'm assuming that it's going to be fine, and I'll be posting it shortly. Any other questions, anybody? No questions, no questions. So we got about 3 minutes and whatever seconds left, because I usually end this thing at noon. So if anybody has any questions at all, or want to talk about something really quick before we end, no, it's okay if not. Don't feel pressured, because like I said, I'll be posting it on YouTube, and if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, you'll get the alert. That's if you want to subscribe. I can't make you subscribe, of course. Don't take that the wrong way, but if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe, and you'll get an alert every time we post a video there. And if you guys want to tell me like how we brought up content, I think that was Katie. You brought up content. If any of you guys are interested in me creating content for the YouTube channel, then I believe there's a channel for that. I think the chat, just the basic chat, I believe we put it in before, where you can go in there and just or even DM me if you want. You don't even have to post it publicly. Like you could DM me if you just want to DM me and just say I would like to see this in there. You know what I mean? Something that could help you while you're learning. Whether you're learning with me or not, because not everybody's here learning from me. But like whether you're in my mentorship program or even if you sign up to a boot camp, hopefully it's New Camp Coding Boot Camp with my link. You know what I mean? That would be great. Or even if you're just learning just anywhere else, university or some other boot camp, or even by yourself, self-taught. If there's something you want to see or something, just reach out, post it, let me know. That's the whole point of me building this thing. And if you feel like, hey, um, maybe we can if you feel like you want to like collaborate on a content for a video, if you feel like there's something you can contribute to that, let me know. I'll run a duo on a video with you on YouTube if you want. It just depends on what we're working on or what we're going to be producing for the channel. Um, but yeah, just let me know if there's any content you're interested in, and we can do it that way. But yeah, we're about a minute, whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it. the today's event. Um, Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for joining the community, and you guys can reach out anytime. I hope to see you guys next Sunday. Anybody? Hazer's typing. Let's see. Oh, everybody's typing. Well, if it's just goodbyes and well wishes, thank you, and I hope to see you guys. Yeah, next Sunday. Yeah, thank you guys for being here, and yeah, you guys have a blessed rest of your day, and I hope see you guys next Sunday.